everyone. We want to welcome you today to the We Are Flora Pearl podcast. I am your host, Latasha J Humphrey, founder of the Flora Pearl Foundation Incorporated. I believe that this podcast will be simply awesome. But before we get started, we want to let our audience know that this podcast is being brought to you by the Flora Pearl Foundation, where our vision is bridging the gap, building a legacy. Our mission is that we are a 501c3 community-focused nonprofit mentoring organization, building healthy relationships and partnerships between women and girls through education, community service, networking, unification, and career planning. Our inspiration is Flora Pearl Humphrey. She is our why. She was my paternal grandmother, and she passed away in 2001 of a massive heart attack. But what she taught me was about faith, family, and community. And that is something that has stuck with me through the years. It's helped me to be the giver that I am today. And I'm so very grateful for her. Now, audience, I have the honor of introducing a woman who is an incredible person. She is one of our elders who has a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. She loves God and she loves the community. So without further ado, I introduce to you and reintroduce to others, Miss Phyllis Anderson. Hey, Miss Phyllis, how you doing?
Young lady, how are you?
I am incredible. Well, we are so honored to have you with us today. And if you go ahead and just introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, without a doubt. My name is Phyllis Anderson, and I am a proud mother of one daughter and a very, very proud grandmother of 4, 3 boys and 1 girl. And that's what I love the most, that I'm a grandmother, and I'm loving every minute of it. I also help assist my daughter in her business. She has her own business, and it's called Q. It's KWU, but it's pronounced Q. And the acronym for KWU is Knowledge, Wisdom, and Understanding, from Isaiah 11:1, and what she does, what we do, is we do health and wellness. We help people to get back to the natural cause of things, and we do health and wellness. So that's who I am. Well, I'm more than that, but that's all I'm going to say right now.
Okay, well, that's enough. You have a loaded plate, but I know in addition to that, just knowing you, Miss Phyllis, that there's so much more to you. And one of the things I know you to be definitely is a community activist. And, you know, you're definitely an advocate in all aspects of the word. And so I wanted you to, you know, just kind of share with our audience some of the social problems that you have been able to work on as it relates to the community.
Well, you know, it's a lot of things that every community have its issues. And what started me with this was the 2011 tornadoes that came through my community and practically destroyed my community. And I watched people scramble around, nobody knowing where to go, what to do. And the ones that were the quote unquote leadership, you know, they didn't even know what to do pretty much. And I think that was a push for me, because you can't just stand up and just look around. I mean, we were all in shock, but there comes a time when you got to hit the ground running. And I think that was my push, you know, because I've always been a lover of people. Always been a lover of people. So that's how I got started, you know, in the community aspect of it. But my call reached further than the community. I'm an advocate for anybody that the world calls downtrodden. You know, even as a kid, I couldn't stand for people to pick on other people or other kids that were maybe less fortunate than maybe we were. we didn't know we was poor either. But, you know, there were some that were less fortunate than we were. And I've always been a popular kid. I was a popular kid and very popular in high school. But I was so heartbroken when people would pick on kids that had holes in their socks or holes in their shoes. So by me being the popular kid, I would take up for them. So that spirit has always been in me. It's a lion spirit. It's a lioness spirit. So it has always been in me, and that's pretty much how I go at the community.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you know, even as it relates to that 2011, that tornado, if you just kind of, you know, go even more into what, you know, what was that? What did that feel like?
That is, you know, this is the, let me think, fourth tornado that I have been in. That was a F4 or F5. But the one that stick out the most to me, besides the 2011 one, was the 2009. No, I'm sorry. It was 1998. 1998, and, you know, it was bad, too. I think it was an F5. But this one, it was, people were walking around the neighborhood, the community, like, I want to say, we were walking around like zombies. I had never seen anything like it. I've never experienced anything that intense, because by the time my second grandson, he was just 2 months old at the time, and by the time that we all got in our safe place, our ears started popping. And when your ears start popping, you know, it's near. And when it hit, it hit. I have never experienced anything like that before. Never.
Wow.
So,
and how,
you know,
as it relates to the community, though, like how far along do you feel like you all have come? Like, how were you able to recover?
That's another thing that started me, that pushed me into the advocacy part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just got our tornado shelter maybe the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I thought that it was just taking them too long, because year after year that went by from 2011, every time springtime hit, we would all be nervous, because a lot of people, houses were totally blown away. And right now there are so many holes in my community where houses used to be. That's there, you know, and this may sound weird what I'm about to say. There was a lot of blessings in the aftermath.
Okay.
The most blessing of it is only one person for a whole community to be destroyed. Only one person died. So, hats off to her. We think about her, you know, every April the 27th, because it was April the 27th. But if you had seen the community, it's mind-blowing, because you would just think, okay, I know the whole community is dead. You know, I know they did. But, you know, we were so covered. We were blessed. You know, no one was injured. Well, we had a couple of injuries, but nothing serious. But people say, well, at least you're living. I'm one of those people that keep it real, and you know it.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yes, you are living, but by the same token, to lose everything, I mean, something that we take for granted, like a picture of our grandmother.
Yeah.
When it flies away, I had a piece of paper on my porch, and I picked it up and looked at it, and it was from a tire company in Tuscaloosa. So that's how the debris was falling. To have your loved one's picture is gone forever. You know, that is a hard breaking feeling. But one thing that I did see that was so inspiring, we were just walking around and we were just looking at different houses where there used to be cars stacked on top of cars. And I went to one house and I saw a Bible laying in the driveway. Bible, the page was open, and it was open to Exodus. It was open to Exodus. That did something for me. It motivated me. It motivated me. It was like Exodus, because these people that lost everything, that had to move from the community, that had been hit in 98 and lost everything, those people had to exodus out of this place, and, you know, they didn't come back. But in a way, that was a blessing, because they live better off than they did before, you know, before the tornado hit.
Right.
So this is how I look at it. So.
Yeah.
But,
Wow.
you know, I ever want to go through anything like that again, but I also know the power of prayer. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You know, so we know where we live, and we just pray and keep it moving.
Yeah. And I definitely want to touch on, you know, what you were saying, that initially when you were talking, I know you talked about the tornado, but then you also talked about kind of the lion in you, and that lioness in you, as it relates to your heritage. You know, I know that you've done some research, you know, as it relates to your bloodline. And so that kind of talks about just who you are and that makeup of who you are as a person. Would you like to explain more, you know, about why it was important to you to do the research, and then also kind of, you know, what were your findings?
Okay. I love history. Love all my life. Weirdo, I guess. Even as a kid, because most people don't like history. But I always liked history and political science. So, but I always had an empty feeling. I had an emptiness. And as I got older, and when I say older, I mean something like maybe high school, I wanted to know who my people were. When I say I love my people, and I'm not just talking about my relatives, I'm talking about the African American movement, struggle. I love my people with every fiber of my being. But I could not understand why. You know, I mean, this love that I have, you know, why do you love your people like that? But I do. And I also wanted to know, where did I come from? Because, you know, like I was telling you, when we come around to, let's say, February, and there's a Black History Month that has practically disappeared, we start with slavery. And it angers me, because it feels as if we as African Americans fell out of the sky. And when we fell out of the sky, we fell into some cotton field. Meaning, our history only goes back to slavery. Okay? Our history in this country. But it was something in me that told me I was more than that. Here's the thing. I realized that nothing matters in this life, to me, this is just my opinion, except three things. And that's who you are, whose you are, and what is your purpose. Everything else is vanity.
Wow.
Everything else is not important. And the reason that I said who you are before I said whose you are, because most people, or some people, are not saved, do not believe. That's not how you start, though, really. When you come in this earth, you don't come in knowing, whose you are. That's a journey. That's a whole nother journey. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
First, find out who you are. Because, and then I started researching my mom's and my dad's side of the family, and there's some history, in our family. And I'm big on civil rights. I was a kid during the civil rights struggle, but I do remember, and I think I may have been 5, but I remember watching the funeral procession of the girls that were blown up at 16th Street Baptist Church.
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
Wow.
And I also remember, my aunt, she was a student at Parker, and it was the students at Parker that left Parker High School one day, marched downtown, and they were the ones that got the dogs and the hoses put on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like grown people. Those were kids. How brave is that?
Yes.
Super brave. And these are our people. They were brave enough to stand up for something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't know that all of them knew what they were standing up for, but they knew they were willing to do it, and they were willing to go to jail for it. Kids now in high school. So I was remembering stuff like that, and I'm like, I just gotta know. So I started doing a family tree. And my paternal great-grandfather was one of the people of the Tuskegee experiment. And the families of the descendants that were left fought for, I want to call it reparations, but it ain't the kind of reparations I call reparations, okay? I'm just going to say some change. But anyway, in the 80s, excuse me, I was living in Atlanta, and they had this big lawsuit going on. My great-grandfather, he's number 13 on the list. I'll never forget it. When I saw his name on the list, it just did something to me, And they kind of sent out a check to all descendants of my great-grandfather. So that was a bit of history in my family, and I just kept moving and going, and I started really digging into my mom's side of the family, and I went all the way back, and I found the last slave. And this recently, I found the last slave that was in my family, and it brought me to tears. Wow. It brought me to tears because, first of all, I had never heard his name before. I didn't know him. I never heard anybody talk about him. And to see my great-grandmother's name written on a ledger, who I never met, to see my great-great-grandmother, who had 16 kids, I think, to see her name written on a ledger, and then to see the last slave in my family name written on a ledger. I mean, I was just ecstatic. I was ecstatic because I'd been, and I just did this. So the conclusion that I came to was a person needs to know where they come from.
Yeah.
And especially during, not just Black History Month, but to me, Black History Month is every day of my life that I get out of bed and breathe.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We did not. This is my new motto. Black history did not start with slavery.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I want to drive home to these young kids. Black history did not start at slavery. And you need to find out who you are, where did you come from, as far as in the natural. So, that's how I started, and I started getting dings, and I got family trees, and my mom's side, my dad's side, and like I say, I went all the way back to the last slave, and I'm going to keep going because I need to know who the first slave in my family was and where did they plant their feet. But in doing that, I got my DNA test done. Yes. And that was another moment for me that was just I was so proud because it told me where my family left from Africa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, know where they left from. And I also know, Africa is split in tribes. So I know now what tribe my descendants on my mother's side came from. So I am, I don't know if you ever heard of this, but I'm Yoruba. Some people call it Yoruba, but it's Yoruba. I'm Yoruba on my mom's side, and I am Igbo on my dad's side.
Wow.
So, I love this. And
yes.
I did my grandson, one of my grandsons, I did him and had him, because I'm teaching him, I'm pouring into him everything that I know. So, he, of course, when you do a male child, it is done from their father's lineage. Okay. Every male, it comes, and it's called the Y chromosome. It comes from the male. Okay, so a boy is who his father is.
Okay.
Okay, and a girl is a mixture of. Now we both, male and female, are a mixture of both. But you do that Y chromosome, it's that man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, or told a friend of mine, one of the rumors is that there were no black slaves that came from South Africa, and that is a lie. That is a bold-faced lie, but we've been told a bunch of lies, in our history, because it was taken from us. But my grandsons and my granddaughter too, they have Zulu heritage. Okay? And not only that, he has DNA linkage from people in Madagascar.
Wow.
They got Zulu heritage, and they got people from Madagascar. And like I told you, I just knew in my spirit that I didn't have that much European heritage in me. I knew that as a teenager. I knew it. I could never prove it. It was just something I felt, and I felt it very strongly. And when I did my DNA, I was right. I only have 9% European in me. 9. And very unusual for a African American. So yeah, 9%. The rest of it is just straight Yoruba. So I love it.
I love that too. You're gonna have me get my DNA done so I can tell too. That's very interesting though. And to really talk with someone like I'll see a lot of times on the PBS specials that they have the research done and just kind of that. That tracking being done and figure out where they come from. And so to actually hear someone speak on it, that I know personally, I just think that's really interesting and really cool. So thank you so much for sharing that.
I love that.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, as it relates to that, when you talk about just, even doing that for your grandson, and just as it relates to generations, I wanted to ask you, do you believe there's some type of generational divide, in our culture right now?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. There is a generation of the millennials, is what I call them. But it's a generation of kids that don't know anything past Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King. You can poll them for yourself and ask, how many of you know Medgar Evers? Have you ever heard that name before?
Mm-hmm.
10 of them have never heard that name before.
Right.
Never. Or you can ask them, do you know the story of Emmett Till?
Right.
They haven't heard the stories because we have been so closed. I can think our eyes were closed or something, but we have allowed, let me see how I'm going to say this. We have allowed people that took our history from us to downplay, let's say, Black History Month. And not only that, they've taken it out of the books. I can remember when I was in school, I can remember a paper that I did on Marian Anderson. And I picked her because we had the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't know Marian Anderson. So, yes, there is a divide because of that number one reason. They don't know who they are. And then you have a generation of children, and it's not their fault. It's not their. I'm an advocate for young people, especially young men. They have grandmamas now in their 40s. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
A 40-year-old is not old, but this same 40-year-old may not know other people outside of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, So it's a big generational, and I just said that from the history aspect of it, because like I said, I'm a firm believer, you got to know who you are, who your people are, where did you come from, and I see these kids, and I call them kids, but they're in their 20s and 30s and teens, that most people say, well, they don't listen. Well, they said the same thing in the 60s about that generation.
Right.
70s about my generation.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say, I think that a big fallout of this generation, and some of them, a lot of them are lost. I think my generation dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm. That's honest, yeah.
It's back to the 70s. My generation dropped the ball. And the reason that I say that is because my mom was a, teenager or whatever in the 60s. So they did the marching, they did the protesting, and my aunt got the dogs put on her and the hoses and all of that. They went through that in the 60s. But by the 70s, we had some type of revolution or freedom. So we were able to go to any school, meaning college, that we wanted to.
Okay.
Could apply for, you know what I'm saying? And our parents were so happy that, we did way more than they did. They didn't really teach us the core values of what they went through.
Gotcha.
To get up to where all we knew was we can go to college. You know what I'm saying? I was like one of the ones that was kind of standing back, observing where we had come from. But as a rule, the 70s generation dropped the ball for the 80s, the 90s, the millennials, we dropped the ball for them because we were handed everything on a pretty much silver platter. We can go to any school that we applied for that we could get in and pass the test. We can go to that school. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a big deal. Let's say if somebody wanted to go to the University of Alabama. I mean, it was still kind of pushback, but it wasn't that kind of pushback. So we didn't learn for real the struggle. Our parents was just giving us stuff because we didn't have to eat in the basement. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Have to use separate restrooms. I don't ever remember doing that. Never. You know, colored and white. Oh, no, not me. So, but that was a result of what the generation before me had done for us. So we're in college. We're doing what we do, you know, and when we get out of college, we all on our professional tip. We having babies or whatever, but we still did not. Then we didn't teach our kids. Do you know what we taught our kids?
Mm-hmm.
Go to school, and we told them what profession they were supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a veterinarian. We say, no, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer. Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That be what the Most High has called that child or that person to be.
Right.
So instead of looking for their gift, we vicariously live our lives through them, which is wrong. So because we wanted to be doctors and didn't go to medical school, you're trying to push being a doctor on your child, and then when this child go to college and flunk out, you tripping. But you didn't watch your child as a kid, because usually the gift is in them, and you can see it at least by the age of 5.
Right.
And instead of putting them to what we think that they should be, we should be, it's just my opinion, we should be praying that God reveal to us. But all we got to do is watch them.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
You know, so everything that's going on with this particular generation, I take the blame for that. And I don't mean me personally. I just mean my generation, you know, because now we got a generation of kids that's not afraid to die, and they're not afraid to kill.
Well, you know, Miss Phyllis, with that, I mean, if you could, you know, what are some suggestions? Like, give just a couple, and then we can move on. But I wanted you to, you know, what is something that can be done at this point?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question, because I started getting frustrated. Okay. I was very frustrated at what I was seeing and what I was hearing. One of the things that we have to do, we have to be very careful of what the media puts out, okay? Because, of course, the media is the media. They're trying to get ratings. So they're going to focus on the grossest thing or the most tragic thing that is happening. And my thing is, you cannot tell me every black male child or every black female child in the city of Birmingham is killing and robbing and stealing. I refuse to believe that. And I know for a fact that that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not focusing on that.
Okay.
But then we can't depend on them to write our history for us. We have to put those people out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We have to celebrate. We need to celebrate our children.
That's right.
Now, I come from a generation where you don't reward a child for getting all A's. Because if that child get all A's, that means that the child is capable of doing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't get no reward for doing what you're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're doing that now, and that's okay. But you gotta know, if you got a child that's a C student, you know, don't try to push that child or frustrate the child to the point to where they're not making these A's and B's like you think that they should. They're making C's and B's, and you're, not involved. Parents gotta be involved. Oh my goodness. You gotta be involved. You gotta be involved in the PTA. You gotta be involved in anything happening with the school. You can't just be involved in the sports aspect of it, because our children are better than sports.
That's right. Yeah, they are.
Better than sports. They're intelligent. All they want is somebody to listen to them. And
I
see,
agree.
I'm a listener. So I got a generation that will talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my heart is. My heart is with the male, because that's where the family comes from. It comes from the male. So that's where my heart is, to show these young men that you're more than basketball, you're more than drug dealing, you're more than stealing. All you got to do is just renew your mind, turn in a different direction, and let's go that way.
Wow. Well, that, even with that, that's, you're in the role even more of a mentor with that. And, I wanted you to touch on, as it relates to Dr. Myles Munroe, when just in saying something about mentoring and really steering someone in a particular direction. I know on several occasions you've talked about him, being a mentor to you. And so I wanted you to, share a little bit about how that came to be and, and just how you felt, even in hearing about his passing.
Yeah, Dr. Myles Munroe, he was my mentor. I have even spoken with him, via conference call. And I heard the first message I ever heard from him was in 1997. And I was mesmerized. When I heard one message, I was mesmerized. But I was like, what is he talking about? Because what he was talking about, I didn't hear that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
From 97 to the day the news came that his plane had crashed, I had been following him ever since. I never got a chance to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
My purpose was the following year, that I was me and my best friend, we were going to go to the Bahamas because Dr. Munroe and I shared the same birthday. So to the Bahamas on my birthday just to go to the Diplomat Center, which is the name of the congregation that he led, the Diplomat Center, and that was going to be like my birthday present. But, that never happened, and I got a text message. And my daughter texted me, and she said, Mom, is it true about Dr. Myles Munroe? And I said, it was true, because I hadn't heard anything. And she heard he died in a plane crash. And that didn't even move me, because I know how there are rumors over the internet.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I then get on the internet, and I started seeing, like, the plane upside down, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I'm watching, and when the associate pastor, who's the pastor now, he's the lead pastor, when he came before the cameras and he announced that Mr. Munroe and his wife were indeed on the plane, it knocked the wind out of me. And as a matter of fact, the youth minister that was on that plane, I got an email from him, and I still got that email. he emailed me about some stuff that I needed from, Myles Munroe Ministry, and he personally emailed me, and we were corresponding via the email, and I still got that email. I won't erase it.
Wow.
Right? So, but he taught me, Dr. Munroe, his teachings come straight out of the Bible.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
It's the way that the Most High used him as a lion. We had the same kindred connect spirit, and that's the only way I can describe it. And it was humbling to be on a conference call with this man. Yeah. I mean, it was a humbling experience, and I just started ordering DVDs. I have over 30 DVDs of his teachings.
Yeah.
I don't have any excuse for not knowing the kingdom. None.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't have any excuse for not knowing. But, it was hard for me. I kind of went into mourning period, when he died. And the only thing that I asked God was, what am I going to do now? And it just dropped in my spirit. You got all these DVDs, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you just gonna keep it moving, just keep it moving. So I'll say, after about a year, I made peace with it, especially when I saw his children then step into their role.
Right.
I was like, okay, they gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I remember, and I shared this with you before, but I remember hearing of him prior to that. And I know with you some years back, I just remember you talking about him and you really sharing. So you put a little more light on him as a person. It made me very interested in, learning more. And so I would hear, different messages and even before him passing, I mean, it was like almost a prophecy in a way there, for him to say, about preparing a successor and, just how you prepare, for what's next, I mean, he just, has a lot of wisdom and even the teachings that I see even just on YouTube, it's very powerful. It's almost as though it's today, it's not like it was, way, some years back, or it almost appears, he's still here. So, yeah.
And that is very comforting because if I don't feel like putting in a DVD or whatever, I could just get a YouTube because I, subscribe to his kids' channel, own channel. And when, it'll beep in or whatever, let me know that they just uploaded a video. And usually they sit down on the sofa and they talk. And then they say, well, we get into a message. And they'll put a message up. Like last night, they showed a message from Myles Munroe in 1991.
Wow.
Like a young man. He just looked like skinny as all get out. And it just made me smile, that we are living in a technological age now where we can actually see these things.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Well, yeah, I wanted you to share that. I just believe that's a unique experience. That definitely, with you all having the same birthday and just you having that connection. And a lot of times when it comes to even mentors, it's not about just having that person right in front of you. A lot of mentors we have, they are people who they're not right in front of us and we may never meet them. Some people, they serve as that, Exactly. And so I just think that's very unique, and I definitely wanted you to share. So right now we are going to move into what I call mother-daughter bonds. And, this is a little fun segment. It gets people knowing more about you. And it definitely is one of the ways to encourage more conversations, particularly, even with mothers and daughters. And so I wanted to go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. So what novel has influenced you the most?
Novel or book?
Let's say novel. Or do you have a particular book instead of a novel?
I got a book.
All right.
And, yes. And the title of this book is called The Burden of Freedom.
Okay.
And it's an oxymoron because there's burden and there's freedom. But the title of the book is The Burden of Freedom. And it is by, of course, Dr. Myles Munroe. I'm sorry, it is. And I have many books by Dr. Munroe. But that book, The Burden of Freedom, oh man, that book changed my outlook on a lot of things.
Okay. Okay. And what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is, believe it or not, it's not a movie per se, but it's a made-for-TV documentary, because I love documentaries, and it's my favorite. And it's Shaka Zulu.
Whoa, I know, wow. I remember when that first came out. Whoa. Okay.
Put it on DVD. That's the first DVD box set that I ever bought. That was my first one, and I still have it. And guess what? I still watch it. My grandson, the 8-year-old, when he hear the music, he know. And it was something that was drawing me to that movie. And then, like I said, to find out that my grandson has Zulu DNA, and it was like full circle. I was like, I knew it.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Okay. All right. What keeps you grounded, Miss Phyllis?
What keeps me grounded? Believe it or not, my grandchildren.
Okay. All right.
The reason that I say that is because I can look at them and I can see what I would like their future to be, and I don't want them to have to go through. They're going to have to go through what they got to go through. But there are some things you don't have to go through. Okay? So what I do is try to live a simple life in my studies. You know what I'm saying? I just want to study and soak up all of that I can, and then turn around and pour into them while they're at the age that they are.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Because when you get into them young, that's when they're the most, they're like sponges.
Mm-hmm.
They everything up. So they keep me grounded because I want them to not have a hard time in life. I want them to make the best choices that they can make. I want them to know you have to choose your friends wisely and explain to them why.
Right.
I don't want you to be around them. That's the way I was brought up. You can't hang out with them. Okay, well, why? But see, we weren't allowed to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different generation. These children know more about computers and all of this stuff. They know this stuff. They can't imagine you having to walk up to a television and have to turn the channel with your hand.
Right.
They're like,
Yeah.
So my kids really keep me grounded. They really do.
Okay. All right. Well, what is work you do for free?
What is what?
What is some work that you would do for free?
Oh, what I always do, advocacy, helping somebody. I would do that for free all of my life.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And what advice, were you about to say something else?
I was going to say yes, without a doubt, that's it.
Okay.
I would advocate for people. I don't care who it is. If you feel like you're being misused or abused or downtrodden or whatever, I'm going to step in and I will take over. But I'm going to help you.
All right. Well, what is some advice you would give to a woman with a broken heart?
It's simple, but I'm sorry. But the only advice that I have to give it to them, it'll pass. That's my advice. It'll pass.
Okay.
Because we know, that's just like death. Divorce is like death, or if you're dating, someone, and I will tell young girls is that in the dating age period, when your boyfriend break your heart because he quit you or you quit him or whatever the case may be, sweetheart, take it one day at a time because it'll change.
All right. Okay. And what is something that every woman should do or at least try once in her lifetime?
What is it that every woman should do at least once in her lifetime?
Yes.
That's a good question. That I don't have an answer to.
Okay.
I'm being honest. Let me think. No, I don't have an answer to that at all.
Okay.
Because again, when you say a woman, I always think culturally. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Different cultures think different and do different and eat different. So I always think culturally as far as my people. I'm sorry, that's just me. I'm just down,
No, it's nothing to be sorry about, and that's fine. If you don't have an answer for that, that is fine.
Or for the listeners, that may not, but that's just how I am, and I've always been that way. So, well, I guess one thing I would say is if you ever get the opportunity, leave this country and visit somewhere else for two reasons. Because you'll see, we think we got it bad over here, but if you go somewhere else, you'll see how good you really have it over here, and you'll see other cultures. That is so important in life, to see other cultures, because everybody don't think the same, because we're not raised the same. We're not brought up in the same environment.
Right. Right.
So,
that works. And what is your favorite kind of food?
Oh my goodness. My favorite kind of food, unfortunately, is fried chicken.
That's fine.
Fried chicken, honey. Yes, I do.
Well, that works. That works. And where would you like to visit if you could go anywhere?
If I could go anywhere, without a doubt, I would go to Nigeria.
Okay.
I would go right close where I was told that my people came from.
Okay.
Go to Nigeria.
Well, that works. And that, go ahead.
I was like, there's another place I want to go, and I will go one day. But I would definitely like to go to Israel.
Okay. That sounds awesome. And so we're going to segue into our faith segment. And I wanted to, a lot of times in this particular segment is to encourage someone else. And so I wanted you to share for a moment a time when your faith was tested and how you came through it.
a lot of people don't realize that, but your faith is tested more often than you think. But we come through it because we grow we just grow, and we don't notice that your faith is being tested, because the more you grow in Him, the stronger your faith becomes. But faith comes by hearing. But I can say about 3 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with kidney and I think she had kidney on her bladder. That's what it was. Kidney and bladder cancer. And when the doctor told me, I was by myself. Because they were just doing, going up and just looking. And when he came out of the room and said, we found cancer. And I have one brother and one sister, but they were at work, and my brother lives in somewhere else. So I was by myself. That knocked the wind out of me. It did. I was just not expecting it, but by the same token, I had already been prepared for that spiritually.
Okay.
Because if you are in tune with the spirit, you will hear things, okay?
Yes.
And hear the truth. So I was pretty much I already knew, but to hear it actually come out of a doctor's mouth, it knocked the wind out of me. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember who I was talking to. I got off the phone because they were calling my name. And, they told me, and they said, your mom is all right. She's coming from, they kind of numbed her up a little bit or whatever. And then I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to tell my mama this? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to tell her this? And I didn't tell her until the next day, because I wanted all the drowsy medication that they had given her. I wanted it out of her system, and I wanted her to be alert. So she was alert, and I told her the next day, and she had to go through having her kidney removed, having, there's a tube that connects your kidney to your bladder. It looks like a little straw, and it's called the ureter. But that was cancerous too, so they had to remove that. That was very challenging for me. But I felt like since I was the oldest, I had to be the strongest. And my mom had faith going in. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's going in, so that helped us as her children, but I still had to be strong. I just felt like I had to be strong or whatever. But my mom came through the surgery with flying colors, and my mom did not have to have chemotherapy nor radiation to this day.
Wow. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yes. So I had to really, stand up and plant my feet solid in the ground and not be moved. I had to not be moved.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Like I said, that segment is definitely to help encourage someone else in their faith and just them growing their faith muscles. And so we're going to segue into our closing segment, and it's called Matters of the Heart Moment. And the first question is, if you had to speak to your 4-year-old self, what would you say to her?
Oh, my 4-year-old self, I would say, don't be so hard on yourself. Because your biggest critic in life is you. If you think about it,
yeah,
biggest critic can't nobody be harder on a person than that person themselves. And I had a tendency to be extremely hard on myself because I had a perfectionist thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So perfectionist people, they are very hard on themselves because they think everything is supposed to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there's no gray area. It's either black or it's white. There's no gray area. So I would tell her, don't be so hard on herself.
Wow. Awesome. And who motivates you?
Who motivates me? My best friend.
Okay.
My best is such an awesome person. She's just awesome, and we have a totally opposite personality.
Okay.
And she talks in parables.
Wow.
How she talks. And nobody really, you can get it, but it's funny to me because we've been friends for 30 years, and she just talks in parables, but you get it. And she was so focused in her life. She was focused, and she kept her eyes on the prize, and she was not out partying like everybody else does in college and all the other things that we do in college. She never did that. She always listened to what her mother said, and she was just focused. And that's probably, she inspires me to no end.
Okay. All right. Well, what was the best piece of advice you have ever gotten?
The best piece of advice I've ever gotten was and is, don't look back. When I'm telling you, you hear that a lot, but I got a revelation. Look back.
It's good.
And it's why that's in Scripture.
Yeah.
It don't necessarily say don't look back, but it tells you remember Lot's wife.
Okay. Now I was just thinking about, I said, well, she didn't really get a revelation.
Yeah. Okay. They just say remember Lot's wife. Okay, well, we got to remember her. She looked back. There are a lot of people why she looked back.
Right.
But just going to say for me, and I would anybody else, the mistakes that you made in the past, they have already done. They're done. You can't undo it.
Yes.
You don't have to live there either.
Right. And stop apologizing for it. I posted something the other day. I was just, your past is over. Stop apologizing for it. It's done.
That goes back to what I would tell that 4-year-old me.
Yeah.
Don't be yourself.
Yeah.
Because look back, you're gonna find something, and you're gonna start being hard on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't look back. Don't tell me nothing. Well, I did. Okay, yeah, you did it, and I can tell you some things that probably is worse than that.
Right.
So,
Right. Keep it moving. Right. Right. Well, that is awesome. And is there any last minute piece of advice you would like to share?
Good. Oh my goodness, people, everybody, please find out your purpose. We waste so much time in life, find out why you are here, not why your brother is here or your mom or your best friend. No, find out why you are here at this appointed time, because this time is appointed, And I think that when people find their purpose and they live in their purpose, they're living a happy life.
Yeah, I agree.
You will do your purpose for free. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
That's what I want to say.
Find your purpose. Well, you know what, Miss Phyllis, this has been a pleasure. And I'm just so grateful that you have shared with us today. And I just want to thank you.
Well, I thank you too. I'm grateful that you asked me. You know, I'm honored. I really am. I'm very honored.
Awesome. Well, I definitely know that, you know, like I said, with the whole podcast today, that everyone who hears it, they'll at least get one thing out of it that will help them move to the next level. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Going with the foundation. And everything come in steps.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to remember that keep looking forward.
Yeah.
Just looking forward. Because whatever your expectations are to happen, will happen.
Thank you. I received that. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Such an awesome pleasure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, our goal here at the Flora Pearl Foundation is always to be a blessing to those that we come in contact with by operating with the spirit of excellence. So, audience, I know that you have enjoyed listening today, and you can visit our website at www.florapearlfoundation.org. And we look forward to spending time with each of you all each week. We will talk to you soon.